When a person blames himself for committing an inappropriate action, his feeling is called guilt. One day, Srimati Radharani was churning curd for Krishna. At that time, the jeweled bangles on her hands were circling around, and she was also chanting the holy name of Krishna. All of a sudden, she thought, I'm chanting the holy name of Krishna, and my superiors, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, may hear me. By this thought, Radharani became over-anxious. This is an instance of feeling guilty because of devotion to Krishna. One day, the beautiful-eyed Srimati Radharani entered into the forest to collect some flowers to prepare a garland for Krishna. While collecting the flowers, she became afraid that someone might see her, and she felt some fatigue and weakness. This is an instance of guilty feelings caused by labor for Krishna. There is a statement in Rasa Sudhakara that after passing the night with Krishna, Radharani became so weak that she was unable to get up from bed. When Krishna took her hand to help her, Radharani felt guilty about having passed the night with him. The next symptom is fatigue. Fatigue is felt after walking a long distance, after dancing, and after sex activity. In this kind of fatigue, there is dizziness, perspiration, inactivity of the limbs, yawning, and very heavy breathing. One day, Yashoda was chasing Krishna in the yard after he had offended her. After a while, Yashoda became very fatigued, and therefore she was perspiring, and her bunched hair became loosened. This is an instance of becoming fatigued because of working too much. Sometimes all of the cowherd friends of Krishna, along with Balaram, dance together in some ceremony. At these times, the garlands on their necks would move, and they would begin to perspire. Their whole bodies became wet from their ecstatic dancing. This is an instance of fatigue caused by dancing. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 33rd chapter, 20th verse, it is said that after enjoying love affairs with Krishna by dancing, embracing, and kissing, the gopis would sometimes become very tired, and Krishna, out of his causeless mercy and compassion, would smear their faces with his lotus hands. This is an example of fatigue caused by laboring in the rasa dance. So Prabhupada says he would smear their faces, but he was wiping their faces with his hands, wiping the sweat and calming them with his hands. The next symptom is intoxication. When one becomes arrogant with false prestige due to drinking intoxicants or being too lustful, the voice becomes faulty, the eyes become swollen, and there are symptoms of redness on the body. There is a statement in the Lalita Madhava that Lord Baladev, intoxicated from drinking excessive quantities of honey, once began to address the ants. "Oh, you king of the ants, why are you hiding yourselves in these holes?" And at the same time, he also addressed the king of heaven. "O King Indra, you plaything of Sachi, why are you laughing? I am now prepared to smash the whole universe, and I know that Krishna will not be angry with me." There's a footnote here that says Baladev, or Balaram, is the older brother of Krishna, an expansion of Godhead himself, and therefore to be considered an incarnation of God, as is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So back to the text. And then he addressed Krishna. "My dear Krishna, tell me immediately why the whole world is trembling and why the moon has become elongated. And oh, you members of the Yadu dynasty, why are you laughing at me? Please give me back my liquors made of honey from the Kadamba flower." Srila Rupa Goswami prays that Lord Balaram will be pleased with all of us while he is thus talking just like an intoxicated person. In this state of intoxication, Balaram felt tired and lay down for rest. Generally, those who are exalted personalities lie down when they feel intoxicated, whereas those who are mediocre laugh and sing during intoxication, and those who are lowly use vulgar language and sometimes cry. Such intoxication is manifested according to different ages and mentalities. Srila Rupa Goswami does not describe further in this direction because there is no necessity for such a discussion. There is another description of the symptoms of intoxication in the person of Sri Radharani after she saw Krishna. Sometimes she was walking hither and thither, sometimes she was laughing, sometimes she was covering her face, sometimes she was talking without any meaning, and sometimes she was praying to her associate gopis. Seeing these symptoms in Radharani, the gopis began to talk among themselves. Just see how Radharani has become intoxicated simply by seeing Krishna before her. This is an instance of ecstatic love in intoxication. The next symptom is pride. Expressions of ecstatic love and pride may be the result of excessive wealth, excessive beauty, first-class residence, or the attainment of one's ideal goal. One is also considered to be proud when he does not care about the neglect of others. Bilvamangala Thakur said, quote, "My dear Krishna, you are leaving me, forcibly getting out of my clutches, but I shall be impressed by your strength only when you can go forcibly from the core of my heart." End quote. This is an instance of feeling pride and ecstatic love for Krishna. Once, during the Rasa dance, when Radharani left the arena and Krishna went to seek her out, one of the dear friends of Radharani began to address Krishna thusly: "My dear Krishna, you have been very much obliging in serving the form of our Sri Radharani, and now you have left all the other gopis to search for her. Please allow me to inquire how you want her to treat you." End quote. This is an instance of feeling pride on account of exquisite beauty. Sometimes Radharani felt pride within herself and said, quote, "Although the cowherd boys prepare nice flower garlands for Krishna, when I present my garland to him, he becomes struck with wonder and immediately accepts it and puts it on his heart." End quote. Similarly, in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter, 27th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma says, quote, "My dear Madhusudana, persons who are pure devotees of your lordship actually feel your ecstatic friendship, and as such, they are never vanquished by enemies. They know they are always protected by you, and so they can matter-of-factly pass over the heads of their enemies without any care." End quote. In other words, one who has taken complete shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord is always proud of being able to conquer all enemies. One weaver at Mathura addressed Krishna in this way, quote, "My dear King of Vrindavan, I have become so proud of your causeless mercy upon me that I do not even count upon the mercy of the Lord of Vaikuntha, which is sought after by many great sages in deep meditation." End quote. In other words, although the yogis and great sages sit in meditation upon Lord Vishnu, who is residing in Vaikuntha, a devotee of Krishna is so proud that he does not consider such meditation to be very valuable. This feeling of pride is due to one's having achieved the highest goal of life, Krishna. The next symptom is doubt. After Lord Brahma had stolen all of the calves, cows, and cowherd boys from Krishna, he was trying to go away. But all of a sudden he became doubtful about his stealing affairs and began to watch on all sides with his 8 eyes. Lord Brahma has 4 heads, and therefore he has 8 eyes. This is an instance of ecstatic love in doubtfulness caused by stealing. Similarly, just to please Krishna, Akrura stole the Shamantaka money, a stone which can produce unlimited quantities of gold. But later on, he repented his stealing. This is another instance of ecstatic love for Krishna in doubt caused by stealing. The king of heaven, Indra, was advised to surrender himself at the lotus feet of Krishna when he was causing torrents of rain to fall on the land of Braj. At that time, Indra's face became very darkened out of doubtfulness. The next symptom is apprehension. When a person becomes disturbed in his heart by seeing lightning in the sky, by seeing a ferocious animal, or by hearing a tumultuous sound, his state of mind is called apprehensive. In such a state of apprehension, one tries to take shelter of something which provides safety. There may be standing of the hairs on the body, trembling of the body, and sometimes the committing of mistakes. And sometimes the body may become stunned. In the Padyavali, there is the following statement, quote, "My dear friend, Krishna's residence in the demonic circle at Mathura, under the supremacy of the king of demons, Kamsa, is causing me much worry." End quote. This is one instance of apprehending some danger to Krishna in ecstatic love for him. When Vrishasura appeared in Vrindavan as a bull, all of the gopis became greatly affected with fear. Being perturbed in that way, they began to embrace the tamal trees. This is an instance of fearfulness caused by a ferocious animal, and of the search for shelter while remembering Krishna in ecstatic love. Upon hearing the jackals crying in the forest of Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda sometimes became very careful about keeping Krishna under her vigilance, fearing that Krishna might be attacked by them. This is an instance of ecstatic love for Krishna in fearfulness caused by a tumultuous sound. This kind of fearfulness is a little different from being actually afraid. When one is afraid of something, he can still think of past and future. But when there is this kind of ecstatic apprehension, there is no scope for such thinking. I just want to go back to the part where they were embracing the tamal trees. So the tamal trees are often talked about as being dark, like Krishna. So that's what was going on there. They embraced the tamal trees, thinking, "Oh, Krishna's going to save me here." So they're dark, like Krishna. The next symptom, intense emotion. Emotion is caused by something very dear, by something very detestable, by fire, strong wind, strong rainfall, by some natural disturbance, the sight of a big elephant, or the sight of an enemy. When there is emotion caused by seeing something very dear, one can speak very swiftly and use kind words. When there is emotion caused by seeing something detestable, one cries very loudly. When there is emotion caused by seeing fire, one tries to fly away. There may also be trembling of the body, closing of the eyes, and tears in the eyes. When one becomes emotional on account of a strong wind, one tries to run very swiftly and rubs his eyes. When one is emotional because of rainfall, one takes an umbrella and there is tension in his body. When there is emotion due to a sudden disturbance, one's face becomes discolored. One becomes struck with wonder and there is trembling of the body. If there is emotion from seeing an elephant, one may jump, show various signs of fearfulness, and sometimes one may keep looking behind him. When there is emotion due to the presence of an enemy, one looks for a fatal weapon and tries to escape. When Krishna returned from the forest of Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda was so emotional from seeing her son that milk began to flow from her breasts. This is an instance of emotion caused by seeing a dear object. Kandita has a comment. I thought the gopis embracing the blackish Tamil trees was also because they thought the trees were Lord Krishna. Isn't that true? Isn't that what I said? I think at least that's what I meant to say. Yes, yes, it's true. You're very true. That's correct. Sorry, okay. Sorry if I wasn't clear, but thank you for clarifying that. All right, back to the text. In the 10th canto, 23rd chapter, 13th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami informs King Parikshit, quote, "My dear king, the wives of the Brahmanas were usually very much attached to the glorification of Krishna, and they were always anxious to get an opportunity to see him. Because of this, when they heard that Krishna was nearby, they became very anxious to see him and immediately left their homes." End quote. This is an instance of emotional activity caused by the presence of someone who is very dear. When Putana, the demoniac witch, was struck down and killed by Krishna, Mother Yashoda was struck with wonder and began to cry emotionally. "Oh, what is this? What is this?" she said. When she saw that her dear baby Krishna was playing on the chest of the dead demonic woman, Mother Yashoda, at a loss of what to do, began to walk this way and that. This is an instance of being emotional on account of seeing something ghastly. Yeah, that's pretty ghastly. When Krishna uprooted the two Arjuna trees and Yashoda heard the sound of the trees crashing down, she became overwhelmed with emotion and simply stared upwards, being too bewildered to know what else to do. This is an instance of being emotional from hearing a tumultuous sound. When there was a forest fire in Vrindavan, all the cowherd men assembled together and desperately appealed to Krishna for protection. This is an instance of emotion caused by fire. The whirlwind demon known as Trinarvata, I can't speak today. Trinarvata once carried Krishna off from the ground and blew him around along with some very big trees. At that time, Mother Yashoda could not see her son, and she was so disturbed that she began to walk this way and that. This is an instance of emotion caused by severe wind. In the 10th canto, 25th chapter, 11th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description of Indras causing severe torrents of rain at Vrindavan. All the cows and cowherd boys became so afflicted by the wind and cold that they all gathered together to take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. This is an instance of emotion caused by severe rainfall. There were severe torrents of hail when Krishna was staying in the forest of Vrindavan, and the elderly persons bade him, "Krishna, don't you move now. Even persons who are stronger and older than you cannot move, and you are just a little boy, so please stay still." This is an instance of emotion caused by heavy hailing. When Krishna was chastising Kaliya in the poisonous water of the Yamuna, Mother Yashoda began to speak emotionally. "Oh, I see the earth appears to be trembling. There appears to be an earth tremor, and in the sky, tears are falling here and there. My dear son has entered into the poisonous water of the Yamuna. What shall I do now?" This is an instance of emotion resulting from a natural disturbance. In the arena of Kamsa, when Krishna was attacked by big elephants, All of the ladies present began to address him in this way. My dear boy, please leave this place immediately. Please leave this place immediately. Don't you see the big elephants coming to attack you? Your innocent gazing upon them is causing us too much perturbation. Krishna then told Mother Yashoda, My dear mother, don't be perturbed by the appearance of the elephants and the horses that are so forcibly coming and raising dust, causing blindness to these lotus-eyed women. Let even the Keshi demon come before me. My arms will still be adequate for victory, so please don't be perturbed. In the Lalita Madhava, a friend tells Mother Yashoda, How wonderful it is that when the Sankachuta demon, vast and strong as a great hill, attacked your Cupid-like beautiful son, there was no one present in Vrindavan to help, and yet the demon was killed by your little son. It appears to be due to the result of severe penances and austerities in your past lives that your son was saved in this way. In the same Lalita Madhava, there is an account of Krishna's kidnapping Rukmini at her royal marriage ceremony. At that time, all of the princes present began to converse amongst themselves, saying, We have our elephants, horses, chariots, bows and arrows and swords, so why should we be afraid of Krishna? Let us attack him. He is nothing but a lusty cowherd boy. He cannot take away the princess in this way. Let us all attack him. This is an instance of emotion caused by the presence of enemies. Srila Rupa Goswami is trying to prove by the above examples that in relationship with Krishna, there is no question of impersonalism. All personal activities are there in relationship with Krishna. Next symptom is madness. Srila Bilva Mangala Thakur prays in his book as follows, quote, Let Srimati Radharani purify the whole world, because she has surrendered herself completely unto Krishna. Out of her ecstatic love for him, she sometimes acted just like an addled person and attempted to churn curd, although there was no curd in the pot. And seeing this, Krishna became so enchanted by Radharani that he began to milk a bull instead of a cow. End quote. These are some of the instances of insanity or madness in connection with the love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that when Krishna entered the poisonous waters of the Yamuna, Srimati Yashoda Devi went insane. Instead of searching for curative herbs, she began to speak to the trees as if they were snake chanters. With folded hands, she began to bow down to the trees, asking them, What is the medicinal herb which can check Krishna's dying from this poisonous water? This is an instance of insanity caused by some great danger. How a devotee can be in a state of insanity because of ecstatic love is described in the 10th canto, 30th chapter, 4th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the gopis were searching for Krishna in the forests of Vrindavan. The gopis were loudly singing the glories of Krishna and wandering from one forest to another in search of him. They knew that Krishna is not localized, but all-pervading. He's in the sky, he's in the water, he's in the air. He is the supersoul in everyone's heart. Thus the gopis began to inquire from all kinds of trees and plants about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is an instance of ecstatic madness on the part of devotees. Similarly, there are symptoms of diseases caused by ecstatic love. This condition is credited by learned scholars as Mahabhava. This highly elevated condition is also called Divyonmada, or transcendental madness. So I see we're over time, so we'll stop there at forgetfulness. So don't anybody forget where we are. That was nice. It's such a great collection of stories, um, giving examples for all these different symptoms. It's all over the place. It's here, it's Yashoda, it's the boys, it's the gopis, it's Radharani, it's Krishna, it's all over the place. I love it. I agree. All right, my friends, good to see you. Sunday we have Bhagavad Arkamrichi Mala, if you'd like to be here, 10 o'clock. And Monday at home, you can celebrate the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya. Or if you're near a temple, you should give them a call and see if they're celebrating on Sunday or Monday. But that's a pretty major festival for us. So I hope that you can either do something at a temple or do something simple at home. Make a nice little feast, offer it up, and continue chanting Hare Krishna. Chai. All right, my friends, take care. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.